Lisa?
Did it work?
No, it didn't.
No problem.
So
One more
close.
time.
You guys aren't, you're on a Zoom call, right? Oh, here we go. So we will be, absolutely. So
Do we
beautiful.
need to see it again? Are we okay?
Do we want to see it again? Okay, play it one more time.
Okay.
It makes me cry the third time. It has to get through the Prozac. So yeah, play that again, Lisa. Yeah, so it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Lisa and our team at GRIP for all the work on the Try campaign, and to you guys for embracing it and seeing that it's going to, I think, really have an incredibly important impact on the run this year. So we look forward to sharing a little bit more about what we're going to do. I just wanted to quickly share with you guys just a little bit of an overview on our agenda here today. We're going to have our next speaker will of course be the wonderful Fred Fox, sharing a few thoughts about September 1st and the 2020 run. We're going to be launching the run on September 1st with Lisa, who has joined us this year on our marketing. We're going to have a few run organizers talk a few ideas about one day your way ideas. Then Michael here, who's joined us this year, is going to talk a bit more about our app and explain, now that it's underway, what's going on with that. The amazing, wonderful David Malkin from Sick Kids is going to be sharing a little bit about research news, especially research in the time of COVID. And our wonderful board chair, Bill Prstansky, will be closing us out with talking a bit about getting us across the finish line on September 20th. And if you stick around, you're going to win possibly win a couple of nice raffle prizes. So here we go. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to pass it over to the wonderful Fred Fox. Thank you, Freddie.
Thanks, Martha. Thanks everybody for being on this Zoom call. Again, great to see, as I shuffled through the different pages, those faces that I recognize that I've gotten to know so well over the years, and lots of staff from across the country on the call as well. And yeah, Martha, mentioned also to share a little bit about September 1st. And again, you guys are amazing. You're our wonderful ambassadors. You keep us working hard, and we're so fortunate to have you, especially in this different time that we're all dealing with right now, and figuring it out where we're going to be on September 20th and doing our runs our way. And looking forward to participating this year with my family and our two grandchildren, and our youngest grandchild Phoebe is going to be doing her very first Terry Fox walk run, and we're going to figure that out. And we can't do this without you guys. And thank you for being so passionate, and right from the very beginning, wanting to know what we were doing and wanting to be there for us. And again, we couldn't be doing this without you. as Martha knows and Lisa knows, you know, we've been sharing some of Terry's journal entries over the last few days, and I've been going through these journal entries, and I haven't actually picked up and looked at the journal entries from Terry's last week of the Marathon of Hope before he was supposed to start on September 1st. I haven't looked at those for about 4 or 5 years, and it's you know, it's been a bit of a ride reading those these past few days, and you know, as we all know, Terry stopped on September 1st and was forced to stop just outside of Thunder Bay, and Terry didn't do a journal entry that day, and everybody's probably aware of the Leslie Scribner book, Terry Fox, his story, and just been reading the last day a chapter, you know, and Terry, after he was forced to come home, and sat down with Leslie a few times, and as she was preparing to write the book, and Terry reflected a little bit, didn't write in his journal that day, but you know, a few weeks, a month later, Terry shared with Leslie what was happening that day, and I'm not really going to read, you know, I don't mind speaking, but I always refer back to Terry and his words, and you know, I'm going to read a few words that Terry had shared with Leslie that are in the book, and this isn't to make September 1st sad. I think it's a day of beginning. I mean, it's why we are where we are today, 40 years later, and the impact that Terry's had on cancer research. And we're going to read these words as inspiration, and to know, and for all of you to know, is, you know, what we're doing and what you're doing, and our appreciation for that. So this is what Terry shared with Leslie from what happened on September 1st. I had run 13 miles in the morning, and it felt good. It felt real good. It wasn't raining, but it was a cloudy day. By now, there were all kinds of people, tons of people lining the roads, waiting for me because the radio stations had been broadcasting. I was about 18 miles out of Thunder Bay. I started running, and it felt pretty good. I think it was starting to rain a little bit. People were clapping me on, cheering me all the way for the whole 8 miles that I did in the afternoon. It was a super help for me. When I finished my 5th mile, I started coughing. I went into the van, and I was laying down, taking a drink and a bit of a break. That was my 18th mile of the day, or my 5th mile of the afternoon run. I was coughing really hard, and then I felt a pain in my neck that spread into my chest. It was really quite a strong pain. Finally, I got myself to quit coughing, but the pain didn't leave. I didn't know what to do. I went out and ran because it was the only thing to do. I wasn't going to sit there in the van and wait for it to go away. To me, it was like having a blister that I knew would not go away until I had time to heal. As far as I was concerned, the pain in my chest was something that would eventually go away. If it didn't, it would be something that I would have to get checked out. People were still lining the road saying to me, "Keep going, don't give up, you can do it, you can make it, we're all behind you." Well, you don't hear that and have it go in one ear and out the other. Not for me anyway. To me, it goes in one ear and stays there. When I listened to that, it meant something to me. Even if I never responded, which I couldn't do all the time, anytime anyone said anything to me, I heard it. It meant something, and it motivated me. The van went ahead 1 mile and waited for me. The police car was behind me, and I was running with that pain in my chest, and I began to think, you know, there's something wrong. This may be my last mile. There was a camera crew waiting at the 3/4 mile point to film me. I don't think they even realized that they had filmed my last mile. And those comments people were still saying, "You can make it all the way, Terry." I started to think about those comments in that mile too. Yeah, I thought this might be my last one. So I ran that mile and got into the van thinking that this might be it. I said to Doug, "Will you drive me to the hospital? I've got to go. It's not my ankle and it isn't my foot." That day, everybody, I was with Judy and I my wife Teresa were with my mom and dad. We were in Chilliwack, BC, during the morning and afternoon. There used to be an armed forces base out in Chilliwack, and they were having a big fundraiser on the lake there in Chilliwack, and it was pouring down rain. It was funny that it was raining that day where we were, and it was raining when Terry was running just outside of Thunder Bay. And that afternoon, of course, 3 hours difference, we're heading home, driving down the highway, heading back west towards Port Coquitlam, and Dad decided to turn on the radio to listen to the news. And the first news story that came on the radio was Terry Fox is in hospital in Thunder Bay. And no other details about why Terry was in the hospital. We arrived home about an hour later, and when we pulled into Mom and Dad's driveway, we could hear the phone ring, and Mom ran into the house, and Dad followed, and they answered the phone, 2 different extensions, and it was Terry. He'd been trying to get a hold of him all day. At this point, Terry had already been in the hospital, and they checked him out, and Terry said to Mom, did you hear the news? And she said, well, we heard you were in the hospital. And Terry said, yeah, Mom, the cancer has returned. Mom and Dad, later that evening, because of a wonderful friend to our family at the time, Doug Vader, who Doug is originally from Newfoundland, Pooch Cove, and now lives on Vancouver Island and Campbell River. And he owned a restaurant in Port Coquitlam and was a big supporter of all the fundraising that was going on in Port Coquitlam at the time for the Marathon of Hope. And he was able to get Mom and Dad a flight and fly them to Thunder Bay that evening of September 1st. And the next day they flew Terry home. And it was Christy Blatchford that was there when just before they put Terry on the plane. And a comment was made, and Terry had said at that time, I don't feel that this is unfair. That's the thing about cancer. I'm not the only one. It happens all the time to other people. I'm not special. This just intensifies what I did. It gives it more meaning. It will inspire more people. I could have sat on my rear end. I could have forgotten what I'd seen in the hospital, but I didn't. How many people do something they really believe in? I just wish people would realize that anything is possible if you try. Like dreams are made if people try. I want to thank everybody, across our country for your involvement with the Terry Fox Run. And I know, just like Terry said, anything is possible if you try. We all have to, maybe because of what we're all dealing with the pandemic, we're all having to work a little bit harder and try a little harder this year. And I want to thank you for all that you do in making keeping Terry's dream alive, and building from September 1st. September 1st was the day that Terry was forced to stop his Marathon of Hope, but it was the beginning of a beautiful story with how many Canadians and people around the world who have continued this dream and had such a wonderful impact on cancer research. And I want to thank everybody for being involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. And thank you, Fred. You are so generous with your thanks. I know that I speak on behalf of the staff and volunteers that you are such an amazing supporter of everything we do. The videos that you do, the letters, the calls you make, it's incredibly motivating and inspirational for us to have you on our side as well. So thank you for that. And Fred is, I think, a little lonely, you guys. Not on a personal level, I can't comment on that, but on a professional level, he would normally be out meeting people, thanking people, taking photos, hanging out, having a few beers, maybe. And so it's hard. I know it's really, really hard for Freddie. We've co-opted him into becoming our one of the staff on our shopping cart shipments. So Fred will be doing yeoman's work on that. But please reach out to him if you guys have. I know he's done some great things already for some of the communities, some videos. He's always there, and I know that he would be thrilled to do whatever you guys want to make your events and your communications the best they can be. So we thank you for everything you do for us, Fred. You are a very special man. So, okay, so let's, our next, we're going to talk a little bit about the very exciting, did I share my screen correctly? Yes, you can see my agenda. Okay. Our next speaker is the wonderful Lisa Chickles, who joined us last year. Actually, I guess last year. I can't quite believe it's been that soon that we're talking about since September. Lisa joined us to help with our marketing and communications this year. And I hope you guys have seen that I think what we're communicating has been incredibly powerful from April the 12th onwards. So I am really delighted to introduce my wonderful colleague and really a great mentor for me in terms of learning how we communicate and how we reach people's hearts and minds, especially in a year where none of us expected. So Lisa Chickles, delighted to have you speak to us about launching the run this year.
Martha, thank you so much. And Fred, oh, I always say I'm going to have a box of Kleenex and I always forget to bring it. Okay, so deep breath and let me share my screen and sort of share with all of you what we have planned as what Dave T, I don't know if Dave's on the call, but what he calls air cover, all of the marketing support that we're going to provide so that you can go out and do your thing and engage with your community and help to get people to register and to fundraise. So I'll share my screen and there we go.
What I've enjoyed, Lisa, if I may say, I've also enjoyed how much Lisa is a crier. So you
know
I'm
a total crier.
She's a total crier. So she's a Terry Foxer when there's a lot of tears.
There's a lot of crying that goes on. So I think the last time I was speaking with all of you was July 1st, and we had done a similar type presentation and sharing with you the launch of the Try Like Terry campaign. So I want to start by saying thank you to everyone. You've been incredibly supportive, certainly in social media, doing your challenges, engaging with your community. And we've, from a social media perspective, certainly have had lots of great feedback from everyone, and the engagements 10 times what they've been in the past. So we really feel the Marcom team that we're really have everyone engaged. We started on April 12th and now we're ready. We've been sharing all this content. We've been engaging with people. Now we want to ask all of them, to keep going, right? Now it's up to them to keep Terry's dream alive and to raise money for cancer research. And we're going to do that together, and we're going to start it off with that beautiful video of reminding people of how far we've come and then also how far we need to go. So with that in mind, this is going to look like a very busy chart, but overall, this is all of the support that the Marcom team is going to provide all of you, so that when you're out there and you don't feel alone, and we've got your back. We're doing our best to have all of these what I call brand assets or media assets available for you. I believe, and Martha will correct me if I'm wrong, that they're going to be up on the media center so that you can download them if you need them. The starting point on the top left is really that beautiful video that you saw, and again, thank you to GRIP. And then also trying to see if we can get people to put that on television, if we can get mass media. I mean, one of the challenges with the pandemic is a lot of our wonderful partners like GRIP have had to lay off a significant number of people. So about 80% of their staff. So, and they have still been generous to help us finalize these videos that they started back in probably February. But they're not in a position to provide mass media, and in the past they would have done that free of charge. They just don't have that inventory or those contacts. So we are going to be relying on all of you, and I think Ara and I were saying this. I mean, I just think, Terry, I have faith that when this video gets out there, it's going to be so beautiful that they're just going to want to run it on all their stations, of course. And I also want to shout out to Peter, because he's been really helping with things like Telecaster numbers, like all the details. It just seems simple. Can't we just put this on TV? But apparently it's not that simple. So thank you. And then of course we're going to be doing our beloved MailChimp and looking at segmentation and, you know, talking to those donors and those past participants and inspiring them to continue, right? It's got to keep going without me. And then here's how you can do that. And then from a social media perspective, as Martha said, we've been sharing, and Fred, a lot of Terry's story and his journal and on this day. And I know the last week has been challenging, certainly for Fred. He's sharing a lot of very emotional content. And then, you know, Martha, Melissa, and I are kind of like, you know, how do we write it? And then we're getting emotional, and it's a difficult time. And then, but to Fred's point, we want to then inspire people to now, okay, keep going without me. And our social is going to start to feel that inspiration. And we really feel this idea, and you can sort of see it in the little graphic image here, is like a countdown, right? We really want to build a sense of urgency, so many days to go, and using Terry as that inspiration, and his smile and his joy and his passion to keep us going on his behalf and to continue to raise money for cancer research. And we will look at kind of that sense of humor that he has, a little bit of that smile in these posts. So we're working on those right now. Right now is the big push, is getting ready for today. And then of course, like we've been doing before, is you guys have been creating your own content. So we'll push that out as well through our channels. We're also going to do a press release. Fred, as always, is incredibly generous of being our spokesperson, does such a beautiful job. And we really feel that reminding people that 40 years ago on September 1st, where Terry was in his journey, and then how we need you now more than ever, and how we as an organization have found a way to keep people connected. And I know Michael's going to talk about the app, but that's also part of it, is there's lots of ways to connect this year. And then you're going to see some of the out of home or the outdoor, the digital boards. Thank you, Wendy Kennelly, for coordinating, getting all of those requests from people. So many people wanting different sizes, and our lovely agency pulling them together so that you will have what I call those media assets to be able to share with all of your local stations and outdoor boards. Like I was saying, we're working on radio. That's kind of our next big push after this call. The print will be available. And we're also looking at updating our website and our homepage. Like, how do we bring this one day your way to life? How do we inspire people to keep going? Right? So that's really what we're looking at. So this is all of the air cover that you're going to have to kick off an incredible season. And I just know people want to do this. We just have to help them figure out how, and to just kind of, the countdown's important, because I know I'm a bit of a procrastinator, and it helps me to go, oh my gosh, I don't have my fundraising page up yet. So that's really all that we have. And Martha, that really brings me kind of to the close of what I have to present. I don't know if we were taking questions or maybe at the end, and I'll stop sharing.
I think, Lisa, yeah, we'll see if we've got a little bit of time at the end.
Yeah. Or in the chat if you have questions.
In the chat, yeah, I noticed Jim from Aurelia, one of our wonderful organizers, has a lot of experience, obviously professionally and personally, and he has suggested in the chat that, you know, obviously the media, we can direct them to our media page and they can download the PSA as well.
Perfect.
So we're definitely working. I mean, it is a shame this year that video is that PSA is so incredibly beautiful. I think it would have, if we had this, if I can say that GRIP in the past couple of years has had about $2 or $3 million worth of donated media for us nationally, and so it's hard. It's hard this year not to have that, and so but we're back to on the ground. That's what we do best, you guys. On the ground, guerrilla marketing. I like that one. So let me just share my screen again. We are really delighted, obviously, the big part of our calls, you know, this year, because of what has happened. We know that your ambassador role, your incredible work that you do has really shifted, but we are excited still to see the ideas on the Run Organizer page, on the Instagram pages of what you guys are doing. You're just unbelievably creative, and I have to say that I think Terry would be so proud. You know, we've always sort of said Terry was an innovator. No one had run across Canada before for certainly a cause, certainly on one leg. And to think that you guys are, I'm going to use a Zoom, I think it's a pandemic term, you are pivoting, ugh, but in the most glorious of ways. It just makes me smile and very emotional when I see the ideas that are coming out. So I delighted. We have a couple of run organizers who are going to present today, and one who I'm going to do a little back and forth with as well. The first organizer that is going to share some ideas with us is Amy from Winnipeg. We're delighted to see what they've been doing with a social media campaign. So Amy, I'm going to actually unshare my screen because I can't see anybody this way. Amy, I think Wendy has unmuted you. Would you like to share a little bit about what you guys have been doing? And you can share your screen too. I wasn't sure if you had anything that you wanted to show us as well.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Martha, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this and to share some of the things we've been doing on our end to get the word out. It's pretty different this year, and I think we've all kind of experienced that. So yeah, what our team, our committee, we came together around the time that we figured out that this is going to be virtual, and we said, well, what can we do to engage people with kind of a virtual lead up? We had more time to focus on things that were online, and we wanted to try to be a little creative too. And one of our committee members came up with the great idea of 40 years in 40 days. And so we actually have been doing a bit of a countdown on our Facebook. So I am going to share if that's okay.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so this is our Facebook page. We're Terry Fox Run Winnipeg. And some of the countdowns 30 years ago, TSN named Terry Fox Athlete of the Decade. So our committee, we went through the different years and we kind of found what milestone in history happened at 32, 31. We try to do as many days as possible, counting down, to one. Days that were in between, we put an inspiring quote from Terry and maybe asked a question like this year, what is your reason to run, walk, jog at this year's One Day Your Way? So it was a bit of a unique way that we thought that we could keep content going during this countdown and engage our runners. And we also were able to promote different aspects of the foundation's page. So at one point we talked about the schools, talking about, I think it was just up here a bit. It was probably a little earlier, but when the school runs started happening. And so we put a link on those and we said, if you want to learn more about the schools, then you can click on this link. And so it's been kind of a unique thing. And then community shout outs, but we've really enjoyed this opportunity. I'm going to stop sharing. We've really enjoyed the opportunity to create a bit of an ongoing posting strategy that our committee can feel engaged in and a part of. And I know they've been working so hard on making sure something's ready each day leading up to the run. And so, yeah, we were just really excited to also share that with you.
I'm so impressed, I have to say, Amy, that you would be able to find things, as many things as that, up to 40 days leading up to the run. I love the idea because I do think historically it's really important this year to kind of share that concept. People know that Terry, obviously the marathon was 40 years ago, but so much has happened in between there and even outside the runs as well. Our international runs, as you profiled, our school runs. Sometimes people actually don't realize there are school runs, or vice versa, don't realize they're community runs. They think they're all schools. So thank you for this idea. That is and I was impressed to see how many people you've got following as well, which is great. Have you noticed an uptick as you guys have been promoting it as well?
Yeah, you know what, we put some of our funding into advertising the page as well to grow it, and we increased by about 85 followers in a week. And so I think we're going to probably use a bit more of our budget and do that again, just because this is kind of a time when, if the wave came in, we're ready for it. We've got all of the content needed to share, and you all are providing that as well. So we really want to capitalize on that and take hold of as many followers as possible in the area.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'm going to join your Facebook page. Myself. You might have a whole bunch now after this, I think, because it's so creative. And I will say that riffing off yours too, I don't know, Lori in Newmarket, are you on the call? Is Lori on the call? Kimber? No. So Lori, I think in Newmarket also has tried to, she did something recently where she bumped up. I think she asked everybody on, I think maybe it was her Instagram or her Facebook page to invite, actively invite other people to join. And she got a great bump up. So I think sometimes we don't always think about putting that ask out there. We think that people will, oh, I could share this. But we need to be, I think this year, even more active, especially when we've got so much great content on our social media pages. Like I'm incredibly impressed by what everybody is producing.
And just to add to that too, we did also reach out to local communities. So our city's kind of divided into different neighborhoods, and I researched online the different communities, like the Fort Garry community, the Northeast area, whatever, and asked their admin person if we could just have access and make a post. And they had, thousands of followers on their pages. And so then we just made a post and said, hey, we just want you to know we exist, and you can follow us here and learn more about Terry Fox Run and everything. And so we got some followers from that too, in case people are looking for other ways to do it too.
Oh, those are amazing tips. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
And thank you for everything. It being Terry's home province, I know it's really wonderful and inspiring to see how people still support Terry so strongly there.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's amazing. Thank you, Amy. Now we're going to invite Don Chapman, who is one of our Terry Fox Run organizers in Midland, Ontario. I'm going to share my screen because Don has, you might not know this when you see the next screen, but Don is a management consultant, and he likes charts. So this will be something that my dad particularly would appreciate. So I'm honored to introduce the wonderful Don Chapman, who has really got a great heart for Terry Fox, and a great heart for how important cancer research is. So I'm honored to invite my friend Don to present on how Midland and area, his group called the Heart of Georgian Bay, is helping to make One Day Your Way really work. So Don Chapman, welcome to the call, sir.
Thank you, Martha. I put in the title here about last call, and we're at anything but last call from all the speakers ahead of me. We're just going into high gear now, and that's absolutely wonderful. But I am a consultant guy by nature, so you have to bear with me. I use charts and tables and all that kind of stuff all the time. But I'll just get across some quick concepts here and share one kind of neat thing I think we're doing that maybe others of you can capitalize on the idea as well. I am certainly going to steal all your ideas, so don't think you're protected. But down the left-hand margin there is just the audience. We do try and segment all our markets. Sorry if I use business terminology, but that's my breeding. So all the audiences we try and focus on are down the left-hand side. We have owners for every audience on my team. That's a key focal point for driving promotion into those audiences. And we keep adding new ones because I think we need to keep growing our audience every year. This year we did a special focus on sports and recreation teams, second from the bottom there. It's just an audience we had never touched before, but the notion is, you got a baseball team, why isn't that a Terry Fox baseball team? Right? Yeah. And let's go get them, because when we get one, we'll get the league. Now, it hasn't turned out quite as good as I am bragging here, mainly because of COVID coming along. The teams weren't together so that we could go and pull them. I think it's a great audience for us to market to next year, though. So across the top, there is just kind of time, and you can see we started simple. We have a way of looking at every single audience and what is the most effective way of getting to them. So things like political councils and associations like Rotary, I go meet with them face to face, present to them, and see if I can break their hearts like some of you are breaking mine today. And we do that. Every audience has the technique, and we try and touch each audience 3 or 4 times to move them along the, I'll call it the commitment cycle here, from getting their awareness to getting them to register and give us some money. So we moved from left to right across there. All of you are doing all of these things too. What I'm getting to right now is in the September phase, we need to add to a lot of the work that we've been trying to do on the digital side, on the using technology side. We've got a pretty low tech environment here, and we need to smack on top of everything we're doing electronically. We need posters everywhere. We need roadside signage. We need banners, postcards, shirt shops. We need to get really, really visible, and we're doing that right now. We kind of went from almost nothing a week ago from a physical visibility point of view to we're just doing, you've probably heard me use this term before, I want to get just to the cusp of being annoying, right? I want so much communication that they almost want to turn us off. And by the way, up in that, where I see chimps there, I'm delighted with the headquarters driven chimps, and I try and in between them, add in my local chimp that's got a little more local flavor. They know my name, right? So I'm recognizable to them, and I can hit them with a complimentary message to everything we're getting out of headquarters. But I think we've got just a rich array of stuff this year. All we need is a little effort because we've got the stuff. And I thank everybody who's creating this stuff and the ideas. In red there, you'll see kickoff ceremony. That's where I think we got a little different wrinkle. Martha, if you could just take me ahead. I promise to do this in 5 minutes, and I damn well will. So what we're trying to do this year is do the right thing, align with the headquarters message and program totally. But one thing we thought we would do is try and get lots of people in shirts, in Terry shirts, out on the roads of our 4 communities together as much as possible. I want to see a deluge of red shirts, all 6 feet apart, but I want to see a deluge of them out there. One way we thought we could do that is let's keep up having a kickoff ceremony like we've done for the last 40 years, right? But we'll do it virtually too. This is a virtual kickoff. We're going to start off with our local Rogers station is going to play the Anything is Possible video from 9:30 till 9:45 on the 20th. That they're giving us those 15 minutes. In the remaining 15 minutes before we say go, get out there, the amazing Fred Fox has made a little custom video just for us, him talking to our community and thanking our community. That will have far more weight than me doing it. So Fred, thanks so much for doing that.
We'll get it, Dave.
Oh, I've got version 1. I'm just waiting for version 2.
Yeah.
I'll do a little more personal thank you and pointed thank you here, not just to the community, but to the big donors, the big supporters. We have a rising star, singing star in our area, Emma Reynolds. She's going to sing O Canada in French and English. And then the incredible Michelle Mink and the Foxers, which is the name we call our little organizing committee, we'll do a warm up and release that we want people to do along with us at home. Down in the bottom corner there, that is the night we shot the exercise video, portion of the video. Our organizing committee came out with masks on, and physically we separated ourselves, although we couldn't wait to hug each other. Frankly, it's been a long time. And Terry was there, as you can see. Big Terry was there in the background doing the motions with us. That's going to be part of the video as well. So that's kind of it. The video will be on YouTube, playable as one thing anytime anybody wants, but it will be played on Rogers and on live stream at 9:30 till 10 o'clock on the 20th. And you can see there, I've got the core messages. This is your run. This is your event. We're the enablers. We want people to participate however the hell they want, however the hell they can. We want to be COVID compliant. And our key message, we've had some rough economic times here, I will tell you, due to COVID, and I'm sure you all have too, but there's a lot of people suffering out there. Our message is give if and what you can. It's the wrong time to put on a lot of money pressure. I'm going for this year, focus on more participation, a little less maybe on the contribution. Get more people, given a few more dollars would be delightful to me. And then next year, I'll go after the bigger community. End of soliloquy. Glad to take any suggestions or comments.
Don, thank you. Amazing as always. You bring you and your team of Foxers bring an incredible range of ideas and love to the foundation. So thank you so much for that. I know we can, we'll certainly connect, we can connect, we'll put out a little, we're gonna put this video out for you guys to share to committee members if you want. So we can include also the emails of the speakers today if you wanna reach out as well and chat a bit more, because I know you might have some questions. I think the idea of using your local cable stations to direct people to some kind of virtual start, like what Dawn has arranged here, I think it is great. Because we all need that connection, and certainly the morning of, it's just not going to be the same to kind of go out the door stuck with the people that you've been stuck with for 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, and then eat a hot dog by yourself at 10 o'clock. It's just not going to feel the same, right? So Dawn, thank you, and thank your team for us, please, as well. Just extraordinary effort always.
Martha, some of the team is on the call. Thank you, team. And I'm very proud of being with you again this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are blessed by the effort and commitment that people bring to Terry Fox. So thank you guys so much. I'm doing a little bit of our last one is a bit about outreach, and I think let me just share with you the screen for just a second before I introduce my last one day your way person. If I go back a couple, on the couple of last week, I guess I posted on the Run Organizer Facebook page that these lovely letters that on the other side actually are a letter from Fred had started landing in everybody's mailboxes. And on the back is the idea of one day your way. We realized we have to actually help people get an understanding of, you know, if they can't come together with their favorite people in their favorite place, what can they do? And so, you know, some of the ideas you guys have, I'm sure, seen this or hopefully received this in your own mailbox. You know, do it like Terry old school, getting up at 4 in the morning, you know, FaceTiming with all your best friends, or, you know, Lisa's going to FaceTime with her nephew in New York. You know, try to do, as Dawn just referenced, doing, you know, some kind of virtual grouping with one of your, you know, your sports teams. But I think the most important part of this is actual outreach. And when I posted this, I asked if any of the run organizers would like to help us make calls to the participants from last year. And it was amazing to see the response saying, please send me my list. And one of the respondents is the wonderful Allison Stoneman in Aurelia, who is, if I may introduce her, I'm not sure I have enough time to say she is a run organizer, she's a Terry's team member, she's a team captain, she's a top fundraiser. Yeah.
Ambassador.
Oh, school ambassador, dear God. Yeah. Oh, Allison, damn it. I thought I ticked all the boxes. So I emailed Al, and Al had said in her response on the Facebook page, hey, yep, we do this, totally doing it again. And I thought, I just want to have just to, you know, ask Al to sort of give us a little bit of feedback, because it's a little nerve-wracking to get a list of names, people, you know, you maybe have only met, might not have even met them at Run Day, and what it's like to do those calls. Because in Ontario, for example, I think we have a list of about 38,000 people. So Kim she's a great talker, but I'm not sure she can get through 38,000 people in the next couple of weeks. So I wanted to ask Al just a few questions about the experience you guys have had in Aurelia with your call campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've done, and maybe some tips you could share with everybody here, in the hopes that they would be willing to take on their own list as well for us to help us out?
For sure. Happy to do so. We have been calling our participants every year. We do it about 2 weeks before the run and about 3 weeks after the run to say thank you. But our pre-run calls are basically to let people know what the date is, make sure they've got a pledge form if they need one, make sure they know where the event is. So this year it'll be a little bit more explanation about One Day Your Way. And if they need help registering online, we'll offer to do that. So my electronic notes only go back to 2006. We were doing pre-calls then. So I'm not sure how many years, but it's been a long time. We gather with our committee members. So between 5 and 10 people, we pick one night. And since 2008, when we formed a really good relationship with our Thor Motors Ford dealership, because of the Tour of Hope, Tour of Hope, yeah. And we've actually borrowed their offices ever since. So one evening, 2 weeks before the run, on a Wednesday usually, our committee members show up at Thor Motors at 6 o'clock. By 6:30, we're making calls to our participants. We provide our callers, so our committee member volunteers, with a list of names to call. And any notes that we have about that person. Are they a Terry's team member? Are they a 20-year participant or a 40-year participant? We give them also a list of facts about how much we raised last year, that kind of thing, so that they have information available in case somebody has a question. And if they have a question they can't answer, we ask them just to take notes. We provide them with a note paper and a pen, so we're not using anybody's desk materials at the Thor Motors, and they can make notes and we can call back later. What's really great about doing it that way is that we're all together making these calls, and we're bombarding Aurelia with phone calls that night. And people talk about it the next day. Did you get your call from Terry Fox last night? Did you get your call? So we've always had great reception from our participants. I think some of them look forward to our call every year. Others who are new are surprised that we take the time to do that. We especially have a great time making our thank you calls. So a few weeks after the run, we call, and people are shocked that's all the only reason we're calling. We're not calling to ask them for money. We're not calling to tell them to register or do anything at this point. We just want to say thank you. And it really gives you the warm and fuzzies. I mean, that's our payment, right, for what we do.
And Al,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, how do you help people get over if they feel anxious about making calls? Like, not everybody is a natural in picking up the phone.
Well, we do provide them with a script, but I also tell them to talk it out a couple times. Use your own words. You don't have to use my words if you're more comfortable speaking. And then I would probably, if somebody was really nervous, I would have them call me. You know, let's do a practice run, and then maybe call Jim and do a practice with him. And once you've had a couple, you're okay. And honestly, as soon as you do a couple of phone calls to a stranger, you're fine. It really is. You get good nobody's hanging up, nobody's swearing, nobody's getting mad. We're calling for Terry Fox. Everybody loves Terry Fox. And the funny thing is, we call from Thor Motors, and so sometimes people answer the phone going, why is Thor Motors calling me? So we just, the first thing we say is, I'm a volunteer with the Terry Fox Run in Aurelia. And they go, oh, you're calling from Thor Motors. They kindly allow us to use their facility. So, nice. Yeah.
And it's, and you like I mean, obviously it's so challenging this year, but the fact that you're all together, that would, I imagine, make a real difference. Like, it's like a party, a call party.
Yeah,
rather than
we're there to
center.
Support each other. I'm there to answer questions. Usually I don't take a phone, so I can float and be available for anybody to answer questions. But it's not only about us being together, it's about, that's the night that all of Aurelia hears from us. Mm. So that, like, I'm not calling, you know, one person this night and 3 days later we call somebody else. We know that if I called participant number 1, I'm also calling participant 100. So if they meet in the grocery store tomorrow, they both got treated the same way, I think is part of the idea. Plus it does make it more of a fun night for our committee members.
Absolutely. And it's great. There's lots of chat going on, Allison. So if you could maybe share your sample script,
for sure.
We can send that out to everybody. Dawn is asking, do you guys leave messages if you don't talk to somebody?
Yes. So the script will include what to say if they answer the phone and what to say if they have an answering machine. And so we always leave a phone number and or an email address if they have more questions.
Okay, that's awesome.
Because we don't want them to call Thor. that happens too.
Okay, that's funny.
Why did Thor Motors call?
Yeah, that's right.
So every time we have a call night there, they inevitably have some calls the next day asking them why people were calling. But all the staff know. So.
And now you guys have, I would say, you have like 800 or 900 participants. Would that be right? How many calls would you say that you tend to make in that night, and how many people would you need?
Okay, well, we don't have quite 800 or 900 yet. We're working on that. Participants were probably, between 500 and 700 is our average. Now, of course, some of those are families. So when I'm creating the call out list, I sort by phone number. So we're not calling the same phone number 4 times with 4 different people. And so then I highlight those together. And if I'm calling the Brown family, if it's, mom and dad and the son and daughter, I'll just speak to whoever answers the phone. Is it the Brown family? Yes, it is. And we give them a call. So we're probably not calling 500 or 600. We're probably calling between 300 and 400. And some people don't leave their phone numbers, and some people, we haven't captured them correctly. So I would say, probably 400 would be 400 calls. So it depends how many volunteers we have, but traditionally we start at 6:30 and we end by 8 o'clock. Thor Motors closes at 8, and that's, I think, late enough to be calling people. So if we had more calls to make, I'd probably start at 6, but we get through them.
That's amazing. Any other tips? This has been fantastic, Al. Thank you.
Don't be scared. Just pick up the phone. And if you want to have a practice, call your friend or call Martha. She's got lots of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't pick up, but leave me the message. I can be the person that takes the message. Listen, Al, you guys are just awesome. Thank you so much. What you do in Early is, spectacular, and the heart that lives there. I will tell you guys just a little thing. Alison and Jim and the whole committee are always, again, so strategic in how they do it. A couple years ago, they did a survey, and one of the questions, very simple, 3 questions, I think, Al, and one of the questions is, why do you come to this event? And the respondent wrote, "It's where I belong." And so I think that's, when you want to call, that's right. When you want to call these people and you're nervous, because listen, I get nervous too when I pick up a call to call someone I've never spoken to. You remember that they came to us because of Terry Fox, and that inspires us. So thank you, Al. Amazing. Okay, so our next speaker, so that's we really wanted to give these 3 topics today were like launch topics. They were, how do we get the people inspired with the call center? How do we get people inspired going toward the run day with the idea of having maybe a run day kickoff on television? And how do you keep driving people on social media with what, Winnipeg and Amy has showed us. So those are all for the next 23 days, 22 days, are things that we want to push and drive forward in, because we will not be able to embrace them physically on run day, but we want to embrace them before that to get them committed to us again. Michael, my wonderful colleague, Michael Berger, who is also a 25-year participant with his amazing family, has joined us this year. And Michael I don't think he joined us thinking he was going to take on the app, but he has taken on the app. And Michael, if you can share with us some news about the app now that it's launched, what it's like. I'm hoping some of you guys were able to download the app before, just so that we can walk through it, because I'm the first one to put my hand up. Apps are not necessarily my comfort zone, but I think what's happening with this app, we have Terry-fied it, and in a good way. And I think on run day, it can be a real tool that we can use to encourage people in their participation to really feel the spirit of Terry coast to coast. So Michael Berger, I'm delighted to have you share your screen and walk us through.
Did you want to play the video, Martha?
Oh, Lisa.
Oh, right. Me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you. We did. We're so good, you guys. Ontario organizers know that this is a complete shit show usually. Oh, God.
Martha.
We did a video to launch the app. So
you did so well.
Oh, I'm so
did so well.
close, you guys. I'm so close. I'm sorry.
You're like an hour in, Martha, in the first bomb. That was good.
God. Thank you, Lisa. So yeah, that we introduced that video just to get people, bring a new comfort level, because it's a it's a new thing for us in terms of this kind of app, and we wanted to introduce it with this new challenge called Train with Terry. So thanks, Michael, for leading us through this next one.
Great, thanks, Martha. So yeah, I'm going to talk a bit about the app, and as well a couple of slides about the map, the Find Your Run map that I know many of you are looking at on a regular basis. So a couple details about sort of what's happening in the app right now. We have over 1,400 people are registered, have signed up and are using the app. And we've completed 3 challenges. The Tri Challenge is what we launched with. The Trek, which had 85 people in it, and the ride was completed last week with 270 people. And in that ride, over 15,000 kilometers were covered by those 271 rides, over 57 kilometers average. And right now we're in the Train with Terry that the video talked about. There are 200 people in that challenge who have completed 8 million steps, over 8 million steps since that challenge started, 39,000 per person. And in the run, we have over 500 people registered for the run already. The other thing about the app is you can create custom challenges. So those are the public challenges that are available for everyone to sign up for. But we've also created custom challenges for certain teams. So McKesson started this week, and we have challenges launching next week for Ingredion and Aviva. Team Darrell started a challenge in the Oakville area, as well. Four Seasons is coming, and then a few other run sites are underway as well. The thing is, those are creating for them. The users, when you download, you can create a challenge for up to 10 people that you're connected with. So you can, so there already have been 33 user-created challenges that have been set up in the app that people are using. So why the app? Why are we doing this? And sort of, I wanted to, I thought a lot about this. It's not just my project, but it's really my passion. I think the way I frame it is that in this crazy year, like this is an unbelievable year, not just the 40th anniversary, but everything going on in the world. The app is, we're trying to, create an event that connects people from across the country, that it's not just the same, we're not gonna be able to do things the way we did them before, but in a way, we can create something that allows people to connect across a country in a common goal. The other thing that I think is really neat about the app is it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think for people, I saw some of the comments, if you had a chance to participate in the Trek I think was really an exciting event, and I'll show you a bit about what that looked like. But as well, while doing the Train with Terry, it sort of inspires you and motivates you to keep going. And as well, the custom challenges, I'm going to show you a bit about those in a second. So this is a bit about what the experience was like on the Trek. So as you're going through, we've created a custom map that you progress through, and you have these, you have these milestones that occur, that happen. And when those milestones happen, you get pushed some content. So when we hit the summit, so when you hit sort of the halfway mark, you get pushed this right to your device saying you've reached the summit of Mount Terry Fox, and you get a little reward with some pictures and content from previous years of the actual experience. And after going through this, me personally, I've thought about the Trek before, and after doing it just virtually, I'm like, wow, I really would love to do the actual Trek when we open it up again. It was a great experience to go through, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do it, 1,900 meters of elevation, that is a ton of elevation. So I made it 19 kilometers, but I didn't do anywhere close to that level of elevation. It was a pretty flat here in Toronto, as people know, but would love the chance maybe one day to be able to summit the actual mountain. And so this is a way of giving people that sort of virtual experience.
And Michael, if I can mention too that Kirsten worked really closely with Melissa, who's on our marketing team, and Michael, because Kirsten has of course done this Mount Terry Fox with Fred and members of the family as well. And she it was really a very personal effort for her, because she wanted people to feel what it really was like as you went up the mount, as you went up on your own trek, what it would have been like if you had been with the family, and I think last year there were 50 maybe other hikers up that mountain. So it really was when we say we want to terrify the app, that's what we mean. We really want to make it personal so that people aren't just feeling like they're being pushed to an app that doesn't talk to them. This talks to Terry Foxers. So thanks, Michael.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So here's a little sneak peek at what the map is going to look like for the actual run. So we don't have it fully fleshed out here, but this takes you from British Columbia to Ontario. And what you'll see when you have the experience of going through the app and going through each of the milestones is it's covering Terry's impact, the lasting impact he's had across the country. So, starting with the statue in British Columbia all the way through the entire country, all the places and landmarks that have been left that are a lasting tribute. So it's going to be, I think, an amazing experience.
Michael, sorry, I just want to say thank you to Fred. Fred has helped make sure that we are capturing as many Terry Fox moments or places across the country. We wanted to have at least one in every province, whether it's a school or a bridge or a road or a statue, monument. What was that, Freddie?
Or a Terry Fox promenade.
Or a Terry Fox promenade in New Brunswick. We really, again, wanted it to be. So what Michael showed you on the track, it'll be like a little route, and your little person will be walking along that route. And Michael, are we thinking that it will be a 5K to make it really,
yes,
so that most people can go from west to east?
That's right. Well, it's going to be a 5K. The trek was a little bit of a challenge. We're going for 18 kilometers. This will be 5K, a little more accessible for people. So you'll be able to see the full map progression in 5 kilometers.
Great. Thank you. Sorry, Michael.
No problem. So I talked about, engaging and connecting people. The thing that's great about the app that I use a lot is the chat. So, during the ride that it took place last week, of the kind of things that were happening in the chat, people posting great photos of their progress and what they had done. So some amazing rides. People had done 400 kilometers and shared that. So just a way of, during the day, connecting that. I wasn't able to show the chat during the trek because the event was over. But I was early out of the gate on the trek, and I had some good mileage going, and I had some doubters out there. I think Ara was questioning whether I had maybe phone to a dog to get that kind of mileage. But I can assure you, those kilometers were legit on my progress. Some more on the chat. This is in place on the Train with Terry. So that's going on right now. If you sign up for this challenge, you'll be able to see the chat. And there was some good talk about, okay, we need a playlist for songs from 1980. And the suggestion was Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. And so I was thinking about some songs that fit. Initially, I thought Eye of the Tiger, because that's the 80s, but they were like, no, it's 1980. So I came up with a few songs here that were actually from 1980. Celebration by Kool and the Gang, You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC, Master Blaster, Fame, and Enola Gay by OMD. So a little variety there of different songs that will be some, upbeat music to train with while we go through the challenge. And here's when I talk about, so here's an example of the challenge. So this is the challenge that we built for Team Darrell in Oakville. They wanted, for their team, who have a lot of members, they wanted to cover collectively the same amount of distance that Terry did in 1980, which was 373 kilometers. So we created this challenge for them. They get a custom image with, this is their team from last year's run, I believe. And then they got a link to this challenge. It's hidden, so only the people that get the link will be able to see it. And they currently have a number of people in the challenge. They've completed 224. It sort of shows miles here because the system isn't in miles, but on your phone it will be in kilometers. So they've done 224 out of the 3,338 miles. And here's sort of who was the top contributors. So that's something that they're doing to engage that team. We've done similar challenges, as I said, for communities and for some companies. So the types of challenges you can create, this is just a few of the types, but you could do a leaderboard challenge where you just track who has the most steps during the challenge. So a group journey like this one, which is distance. You could do a group target, which is looking at total steps done by the group. So one of the companies that we're doing a challenge for wanted to do 7 million steps, which is the distance from one of their offices to the other. So they wanted to sort of cross the country and say, okay, how far would it, how easily could we get across that distance? And then the last one, a bit more competitive, the group leaderboard. So you can have teams within your challenge. So you could break out into groups of 5 or 10 and see who has the highest step average within, during the period of the challenge. So we wanted to throw it out. We've done a few of these for different communities. If people are interested in doing something for their site or for teams, if they have a team like a Team Barrel that this could engage, we'll open it up to the first 10 of you that contact Martha, and we'll build you a challenge. All we need is an image and a description, and you need to decide what kind of challenge you want to do. And if it's a team challenge, how many teams are going to be, so we can set up the discussion and build that for you pretty quickly.
Perfect.
All right. So
that's great. Thank you, Michael.
Martha. And then
amazing.
I wanted to do just a couple slides on the map.
Yes.
So I'm also doing the map this year. We launched it a few months ago. I know there's lots of people looking at it, and it's now being updated twice a day. So it's not an automated update. This is a manual update I have to do to take the data out of Salesforce and put it in the map. But you can see I've added in here when the map has been last updated. So this is current. This is the latest update that happened just before noon today. You get the total fundraisers and the amount fundraised, and you can search for your site. So I know big customers is Craig in Burlington. So results from Burlington today. They're at 199 fundraisers and just over $36,000. That's the data that comes up for them, and then the link here allows you to click right through to your page in our test. So we're making sure you guys get the data is updated around noon and close to midnight. It's not exact, but around morning, 12 hours apart. So you get a view as to where you're at for fundraisers and fundraising totals. All right.
Excellent.
So that is it for me.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. It's honestly that both the app and the map, in terms of offering some new technology, has been really, really exciting for us this year. And I know it's been a lot of work for you. So thank you. And thank you for keeping it updated. Michael said at one point, he goes, so how often should I update? I'm like, well, with the week before the run, can you do it like every hour? And he looked horrified. But Michael it'll be, 24 hours a day. I think he could keep it going for a week at least. So those numbers, listen, those numbers are exciting to see, you guys. Those are, I have a slide coming up just when we're almost finished now, but it'll give you a little summary of where we are versus last year. So the next speaker, I'm really thrilled. Dr. David Malkin has become a great friend to the foundation. As a researcher at Sick Kids, he takes care of the wonderful children who they're lucky because they have him as their doctor, and he has got the most beautiful soul. So I'm delighted. He's giving us some of his Saturday today to come and talk a little bit about what's going on in the research community right now, and also we're all here because we know that we need to keep funding research, and that's I know what Dr. Malkin needs us to do, and we're here for him as well. So Dr. Malkin, we're thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Martha, and thanks for that really kind, bit over the top introduction, but appreciate it. So it's been great listening to the last hour. It's been fantastic what everybody's doing, and particularly in these challenging times. I know it's not easy. It's never easy, but it's not easy at all at the moment. So I'm just going to tell you a couple of stories and a little bit of where things have been at, and how COVID in particular has impacted the research community with reference to Terry Fox. But I just want to start off actually by saying, so the Research Institute at all institutions across the country, and Sick Kids is where I'm at the beginning of March, about March 13th, basically shut down. And what that meant is there was zero research going on, period. Nobody was allowed in the building, and except for essential research. And I'll get back to that point in a second. But around mid-May, so everything was being done virtually like this, of course, but around mid-May, I decided it was time to go back into the lab. And so I did, and we were just starting to reopen. And the first thing I saw when I opened my door to my office, as Martha and others who've been there will know, is the first thing that I saw when I walked in was the poster I have up there of Terry Fox running in Oakville in the morning at 4 o'clock with a police car behind him, and his famous quote, it's something like, it's 4 in the morning and it's hard. And that's been, I think, the message that we all have felt over the last little while. It's been hard, but it's also been worth it. So what's been happening? Well, in fact, as I mentioned, the only research that was conducted in any institution across the country was what was called essential research. And most of that was people who were pivoting their labs towards COVID-related work. And I actually spoke to the head of the CEO of our hospital, as well as the chief of research by the name of Mike Salter. And I said, look, one of the programs that we do is we actually have done what we call molecular sequencing or targeted sequencing precision oncology, where we're sequencing using very, very fancy technologies, the DNA of tumors of children with very hard to treat cancers, in a hope that we can identify alterations in their tumors that we can then identify drugs to give them a second or a third chance. And I said, this is essential research. It's research, but it's also relevant because in real time we can do something. And so of all the research that was going on at Sick Kids, which is a lot, the only program that could be considered non-essential, could have been considered non-essential, that was allowed to open was ours. And that program is funded by Terry Fox. Okay. So for we had a 2-week hiatus because we needed to sort things out. But through this entire period of time, we and across the country have continued to enroll kids onto this program. And over the last number of years and in the last few months, we've sequenced almost 800 now. And of those kids who had basically no hope for any further therapeutic options, about 50% of them, we were able to identify a potential target for a potential new drug. Not all of them have been able to get that drug. There's other challenges there, but many of them have. And one kid comes to mind as a little guy. He was 8 months old when he was diagnosed in December with a tumor on his bum. And the pathologist didn't quite know what this tumor was, but it kind of resembled something that is not that uncommon in little babies, unfortunately. So we started treating with a chemotherapy regimen, which we would typically use for that. But unfortunately, the tumor continued to grow. So over the next several weeks, it was pretty clear that this chemo wasn't working. So in the meantime, what we did is we actually sequenced it using the same program I just mentioned to you, the profile, molecular tumor profile. And we identified an alteration, which is a very unusual one, which indicated that we were treating with the wrong drugs. And we immediately switched, changed the drug regimen, and within 2 weeks, the tumor was shrinking visibly. He could actually sit without being in discomfort. Within 6 weeks, it had shrunk by over half, enough that the surgeons could go in and remove it. And his last imaging, which was done just a couple of weeks ago, showed that he's in complete remission. He's off therapy, and he's getting his central line pulled next week. So there's no question that you can do a lot through COVID, because all of that was done during COVID. I think it also reflects sort of a, so I'm able to share my screen actually?
Yes, David, yeah.
So I just realized when I was looking at the chat, I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
Okay. So I just realized when I was looking at the chat that Pam is actually on this call. Sorry, Pam, but there are some people, and you're all in this together, but there are some people who are really pretty remarkable in committing themselves to a cause over a long period of time. And Pam, of course, like all of you, is one of those people. But also, in addition to this, is Pam has been an enormous supporter in the context of pediatric cancer, both in her day job, shall we say, but also just in the calls that we've had almost monthly, sometimes a little more frequently during this period of time where I'm not able to get to Ottawa or we're not able to meet in person, to try to get a sense of what more can we do? How can we make this work? How can we continue the Terry Fox programs, research programs beyond COVID? Because one thing is for sure, COVID will disappear. There will be a vaccine. This virus will not be here forever. The country's going to recover. We're all going to recover. We don't know exactly when. We will make COVID history. And therefore, we need to remember that so that we can also make cancer history. Cancer is not going to disappear just because of COVID. It's going to be there as soon as we're done with COVID. So one of the messages I think is really important in terms of the efforts that you're all making and the efforts that Pam and her colleagues are making with the upcoming run is absolutely everybody's hurting financially. But as somebody had posted in the chat, everything helps, and everything helps move these research programs forward. So I would really encourage that where you can do continue that message. I realized the slide, the thing doesn't work quite the way I wanted it to, but I'm gonna try again here.
It's nice to know even researchers can't operate Zoom, David.
You know, I've been operating, I mean, we've been doing this Zoom for, God, what, everybody for 6 months, and for some reason, okay. So.
We're very intimidating, my friend. I think that's
you are very intimidating. So I'm just going to close because the second slide was the one that I love, that in Ottawa, as all of you who've been there knows, that there's a statue of Terry in Ottawa. And I was actually just up there. My wife and I went a couple of weeks ago. My uncle celebrated his 97th birthday, which is pretty cool. And we were able to go and visit him, socially distanced and masked and everything. There's nobody in Ottawa, of course, tourist-wise, but Terry Fox is still standing there. He's still got his fist out. And so as Pam had mentioned to me a couple of years ago, every time she walks by her office and past them, gives him a fist bump. And so I gave him another fist bump. There are so many stories. I'll tell you this. What you're doing is amazing. I had my clinic yesterday. All the way through COVID, we were seeing patients. Every patient was well taken care of. Every patient has gotten the same approach to therapy, and the nursing and the doctors and the surgeons and the radiologists and the radiation oncologists that they need. We have not missed a beat during this period of the pandemic. We will not miss the beat going forward. I think it is also incumbent on all of us that we never miss a beat. That's not the way Terry Fox would have wanted it. So thank you. And that's all I have to say.
Dr. Malkin, you are just honestly the best man. I think my dad's on the call, so I can say it. The best man I've ever met. You bring so much joy to our lives. You make us so proud of the work that's being done. And I can tell you something that I think everyone's probably exhausted from kind of reinventing the Terry Fox run this year, but we are going to work our very hardest. As you said, that's the bare minimum Terry Fox would expect considering what Fred read to us starting this call today. And we will do you and the research community proud on Sunday, September the 20th, and on September the 30th for our schools, and through the fall. We will not fail you. So thank you so much for coming with us today.
Thanks.
Okay, gosh, that is just so beautiful. So we're about to finish off our call. I'm really honored to be able to ask our interim executive director to introduce our next speaker, because it gives me the chance to be able to say to Ara Sahakian, who joined us last July, I think, unexpectedly, when our executive director stepped down. Ara has been, if I may not be too exaggerating here, he's been the exact leader that the Terry Fox Foundation has needed in this time of crisis. He inspires us. He kills us sometimes. We want to kill him sometimes, but he pushes us. He makes us believe that we can do this. We can be the charity this year that still is able to connect with people. Again, as we said, might not be all about as much money, but it is about the connection and about conveying Terry Fox. And Ara believes that to his bones. And he's inspired us this year to keep going. So Ara, thank you for that. And thank you for introducing our next speaker as well.
Oh, thank you, Martha. No, honestly, I can't believe we're here today and how hard just everyone's been working. This didn't just start last month. You know, the team has been working since last year. We had some amazing plans, and unfortunately we had to change those plans, but everyone's just working so hard. So just so thankful of everyone. And when people ask me, how many, what's your team size at the foundation? I never say 45 people. I say thousands, because you guys are like, we don't see you as volunteers. We see you as part of the team. And that's why we're here today, treating you like what you deserve, being informed early on and really part of the team. So thank you everyone on the call. Thank you everyone who's recently joined us. There's been significant changes at the foundation. People have really picked up and have just done an amazing job. So I'll move on with my job to introduce Bill. I met Bill when joining the board in 2013, and he's just been so devoted to the foundation even before that. So he chairs the board. He's a fundraiser, and he's just available to so many people, including myself. And he's an original Terry Foxer. He's run all 39 Terry Fox runs. His mother was fighting cancer in 1980 when he witnessed Terry run through Sault Ste. Marie. And Bill truly believes that Terry's inspiration led his mother to live another 3 years. Bill has participated in Terry Fox runs in Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Kingston, Vancouver, Maui, Nantucket, Niagara-on-the-Lake, in Oakville, and has raised over $800,000 so far. And his note to his sponsors was, and it was very specific to the Your Way, which we all loved, and we hope that Bill will share that with us in a few minutes. He's also led the charge with our very own Pam Damoff. Hello, Pam. To convince the federal government to commit $150 million to the Marathon of Hope Cancer Center Network project, led by TFRI, and Dr. Malkin is part of that network. We've asked Bill to share a few words and closing remarks, but knowing Bill, that may be really, really difficult for him to just say a few words, but he's promised that he will try. So thank you, Bill, for doing what you do and joining us today. Bill.
Well, thank you, Ara. Thank you for your generous words of introduction, and thank you, Ara, for stepping away from the board of directors and from your day job to take on the important role of executive director for our foundation. But of course, it's not all about me, or it's not all about you. It's about people like Pam Damoff. It's about our dedicated staff across the country. It's about our run organizers, who many of are on this call, and Terry Fox survivors and Terry Foxers. It's about the teachers in our 9,000 schools across the country that organize our school runs. It's about all the volunteers that provide the foundation for our grassroots organization that allows us to have the best fundraising ratio with the lowest overhead cost, guaranteeing that about 80 cents of every dollar raised goes directly to helping doctors like David find the cure. It's hard for me to believe that 40 years ago today, Terry was running along the north shore of Lake Superior. He had traversed 6 provinces, raising awareness and funds for cancer research, running a marathon a day on one leg, living in a donated van with his best friend and younger brother, doing media and speeches each and every day. And 2 days later, 40 years ago, this coming Tuesday, the cancer came back, and as we all know, Terry had to stop his run just short of my hometown of Thunder Bay. As Terry said in the video that we saw at the outset of our meeting today, quote, "If even I don't finish, we need others to continue. It's got to keep going without me." Mr. Isidore Sharp, the founder of the Four Seasons Hotels and probably the earliest corporate supporter of Terry's Marathon of Hope, suggested forming our foundation and asking people to keep it going each September, doing runs across Canada and around the world. And we did. And together we're on our way to raising $1 billion for cancer research. Each of you on this call as community run organizers, each have had the marvelous experience each year of gathering people together for the most amazing hometown event. The energy that Terry Foxers bring as they get together at the starting line, ready to run, roll, ride, or walk 2, 5, or 10 kilometers to raise funds in Terry's name for cancer research. It's truly amazing. And it takes a lot of people, a lot of time, and a lot of hard work each and every year for 39 years to keep Terry's dream alive. And we can, because Canadians believe Terry touched them somehow, touched them as he ran through their city, their town, or their village, touched them when they learned about this Canadian icon, this Canadian hero in their grade 2 class, touched them with his persistence, his athleticism, his inspiration, and his generosity of spirit. I think it's his generosity of spirit. It may be the most important value that Canadians can relate to. For it's Terry himself who said, "It took cancer to realize that being self-centered is not the way to live. The answer is to try and help others." That spirit of generosity is what has brought all of us together today. After 39 years, we had the formula that worked. It was the secret sauce of peer-to-peer fundraising that Terry actually invented. It's that secret sauce that worked for 39 years. And then COVID-19 hit the world, a health emergency, a pandemic that has forced governments and their health agencies to shut down much of the world as we know it. It forced us all to say to ourselves and to each other, now what? How can we raise the $40 million that we plan to raise to celebrate our 40th anniversary? How can we even raise the $25 million that we raised last year? But the real question to consider is, what would Terry have done? What would Terry do faced with this daunting challenge? First, we can be sure that he would not have quit. Mm-hmm. Second, since we know that he had a gift for telling his story in such a natural way, he probably would have talked to us today if he was here about the 3 R's. Respond to the crisis, reach out to our Terry Foxers and potential new Terry Foxers, and reimagine our mission delivery systems. And we have with our virtual run approach, one day your way. Third, he would cheer us on because we had cheered him on. He'd likely tell us to just get it done, to find a way. And we saw it in our 30-second video clip at the beginning. We have to try. So we've begun our try. Together, we have gone forward with our magnificent Adidas shoe and t-shirt 40th anniversary program, which will likely raise more than $1 million this year for cancer research. We've gone forward with the trek and the ride that also raise new funds. And most importantly, these reimagined programs have helped to raise the awareness of our 40th year and the fact that we're moving forward, as Terry would have directed, with virtual runs on September 20th and beyond. So how do we maximize our efforts in this new normal in which we find ourselves? First, we have to reach out to as many of our Terry Foxers that we can to ensure they know how to register online and how to raise funds online. All those people that each year show up with their friends and families to our run sites with their pledge sheets and their checks and their loonies and toonies, all those people need to know that we are going ahead, but in a very virtual way. And how do we do that? Well, about 1 in 5 last year registered and collected funds online. And if they hear about our virtual run, they'll do the same. So for these people, they just need to know. And for the other 4 in 5, we need to not only tell them we're alive and well, but teach them how to use the online fundraising tools. We need them to download and use the app that Michael demoed for us earlier today. We need them to register, and we need them to fundraise online. The national office have developed they had developed a 5-year digital transformation plan. That was 5 BC years, before COVID years. Our current challenge is now to implement that 5-year digital transformation plan in 5 months. You can use social media to reach out to our Terry Foxers in your community, but if you're not a social media user with hundreds of followers, you don't really have time to get that done. However, there's likely a volunteer on your committee who understands and uses social media effectively. So the next 3 weeks, we need to ignite and energize their social media networks, as so many of us already have. So you may ask, how do I raise funds for Terry? Well, first, when I register, our Terry Fox website allows me to create a link to my donation page. Second, I set a reachable and meaningful goal on my personal donation page, and this year it's $40,000 for the 40th anniversary run. Third, I send out emails to all my personal and business contacts that makes the ask and provides them that link to my donation page. I ask them to donate, tell them it takes 3 minutes, and that they will then get their tax receipt in less than 5. Fourth, I keep sending out emails once a week until I reach my goal. And if I reach it before the run date, I go back to my webpage and, of course, increase my goal. Fifth, I keep sending out emails once a week after the run day until I reach my target goal. And, of course, each time I remove those that have donated from my email blast list. The key here, as Don has so eloquently stated earlier, be on the cusp of being annoying. Sixth, most importantly, each donor gets a personal thank you by email and a handwritten thank you on the Christmas card that I send to them. And that gets them back the next year. I have some people who've given to me now 40 years in a row. Terry had no idea of the far-reaching impact his actions would have. All he knew is that he had to try. And this year's Try campaign can celebrate Terry's spirit of generosity and act as a rallying cry for us all. Terry was only one young Canadian. Let's see what happens when we all try. It can be done. As Lisa has demonstrated earlier today, we have the digital and marketing tools to help us all get it done. And as Allison told us, we can still do it the old-fashioned way. There's nothing wrong with picking up the telephone for our pre-run calls with our splendid volunteers. But most importantly, we have Terry as our motivator, our own iconic Canadian hero, our example for the spirit of generosity. It's that generosity of spirit, keeping in mind Terry's leadership. Together, I know from the bottom of my heart, yes, together we can get it done. So today I thank all of you for what you do for Terry. Thanks for all that all of you do to keep the Marathon of Hope going. Because as Terry said, it's got to keep going without him. And we know it can, and we know it will, because we're all going to try. And all our Terry Foxers will do it one day their way. So God bless you all. Thanks very much to Martha and Ara for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, wonderful Bill. You are such a champion of ours. And honestly, having gotten to know you now for the past 30 plus years, it's an honor to be able to work with you and be led by you and your vision, and most importantly, your passion for Terry Fox and what it means to be a Canadian, a proud Canadian. So thank you for that. We are grateful, truly grateful to you. Thank you. Wonderful, Bill. Okay, so you guys have been amazing. I wanted to end our call with a couple of, it feels awful to end with a few little housekeeping notes, but I do want to tell you guys that the staff will always be on the other end of the phone. We're trying to arrange ourselves getting into the offices in some way, shape, or form in September. We know you need things from us. Kim was there, I know, in the Ontario office, shipping out more shirts. We're working on, again, some technology, some possible e-transfer technology, because we know concerns about money. We're going to try to keep you guys up to date with that. It's challenging, as you can imagine, trying to bring money in digitally through banks where it's hard to identify where it's coming from. So that's where we're sitting right now. I was going to give you all a quick lawn sign lesson because I heard some of you were struggling with your lawn sign. We're calling them wraps, you guys. But I was going to, oops, I never can do the camera right. I was going to put it onto my lawn sign, and I did a test this morning, you guys, and it slid on. Like, none of this, ooh, I have to cut things down. I don't know who's trying to fit your wrap onto your sign, but it works. So Kim's like texting me madly. It doesn't work for everybody, so I'm sorry. We can send you out more signs so you don't have to cut your signs down, you guys. It must have maybe you have some old signs. Anyway, sorry about that. Last thing is, I also wanted to just quickly share my screen for this wonderful initiative that Donna and Darren and Allison and Aurelia came up with. And I just want to show it to you because it's an amazing lawn sign campaign to celebrate our Terry's team members. These we're going to have, as you can see, we're going to just quickly this year produce 500, just as because it's a pilot project. It's going to be kind of run organizers. It's first come, first serve. To email Donna in the BC office, donna.white@terryfoxrun.org. If you'd like a supply of these lawn signs, they work exactly like our regular lawn signs. I think they're a beautiful way to for Terry's team members to be able to be celebrated and to celebrate their own survivorship. We will be asking, unfortunately this year, if you want some, that we would send you all of them, and you would have to be responsible for distributing, whether that's arranging pickups by the side of your house, obviously COVID conscious. And we are going to include just a poster of this with when we start shipping the shirts out next week. So they can put that up in their window, which has of course become quite a way, a very also COVID related way to celebrate successes and gratitude this year in the year of COVID. So I wanted to show you guys that it's an amazing initiative, and I can't wait till next year when we actually can offer these to Terry's team members directly, coordinate sending them out. It's just, you know, bleeping COVID, if I may end the call with that. So finally, you guys have been so patient. We have three raffle prizes. Okay, so Ara, can anyone see where's Ara gone? I can't see him on the screen anymore. But Ara is very selfishly wearing the new Terry Fox sweatshirt. Oh, there he is. Can you see, can anyone scroll through to see Ara? So all three of these packages are going to be, oh, I should have been better prepared. You get one sweatshirt, 1
And the
hat.
hat too.
Oh, there's the hat. All right, you can put it on, all right? You could look very handsome. There. 1 sweatshirt, 1 hat, 1 toque, and the set of masks, along with, all set. I can't hold them up. I should have brought Declan upstairs. The 2 newest books. Oh, there we go. A set of all 5 of them, all 5 of our amazing books about Terry. Okay, so we have 3 raffle packages. Fred, give us a, what does he have to do, Wendy? A number and a number?
I need a, first number is a number from 1 to 5, and then 1 to 25.
Okay. Page 2, number 12.
2, number 12.
Okay. And then Bill. Who is it?
Can I say now, because I can
Okay, wait. Okay, yes,
okay.
wait. Bill P, give us a number. 2, what is it? 1 to 5 and 1 to 25.
Oh, hang on. I've got to unmute Bill.
Oh.
Hang on, Bill.
He's unmuted.
I think Bill's unmuted. Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. 1 to 5 and then 1 to 25.
4 and 13.
Thank you very much. 4 and 13. Okay, perfect. And then Ara, you can pick the last one. 1 to 5 and 1 to 25. You have to unmute though.
Oh, hang. Ara's unmuted.
Oh, close. Close.
1 and 6.
1 and 6. Okay.
1 and 6.
All right. So Wendy can give us a quick announcement.
So the first one chosen by Fred is Lisa and her daughter in the screen.
Lisa and her daughter. Is that literally their names? That's hilarious.
Well,
Lisa
it says
and my
Lisa,
daughter.
but I see I see 2. They're waving to us.
Okay.
Sure,
congratulations, you guys.
Hang on, when we turn everybody off mute, you can chat with us. Second prize goes to Adele. Adele was speaking to us on the last call. Congratulations,
Adele.
And third prize is Marilyn. Hopefully there's only one Marilyn on the call.
Okay, Marilyn.
Marilyn Demers? There you go.
Oh, Demers, yes, excellent. Okay, and the last question, you guys, before we say thank you and wrap it up, is with a show of your little things at the bottom, you know, your record reactions there in the bottom, you can do a thumbs up or a clap. I do appreciate there's no thumbs down. I do appreciate that as the host. Would everybody like if we hosted a call like this on Sunday, September 20th? We thought we'd invite some special speakers that have connections to Terry and the story and the run, and just come together as a group to share our love and passion for where we would have been on Sunday, September 20th, and still be together as one. Because, you know, I know in a lot of offices you call in and we ring the bell and we scream and shout and we celebrate success, and we still need to do that. We still need to celebrate success because it will be another amazing year for the Terry Fox Foundation. So it looks like people are into that. That's fantastic. We'll get that organized, and we'll raise a drink. We'll make sure that we have either alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverages available, and we will have a great time. So thank you guys today. You are amazing. Launch the run. We're celebrating so much, and we're celebrating you for all that you do for us. So thank you. Have a wonderful
Everyone
weekend.
should be unmuted now.
Thank you. Everyone. Fantastic. Wonderful. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good week.
Nice
Have
to
a
see
great
you,
weekend.
Fred.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Enjoyed this morning.
Good luck,
Have a great
everybody.
September.
Bye, Rita.
Bye.
Bye.